Hello, everyone in the You Are Worthy Network. Can you guys believe it's Friday already? Deanna and I were just talking about how time flies, and I was saying how much time flies as you get older, or so it appears to me. I always say that that people say time flies when you're having fun, and as I've gotten older, I'm like, nah, it just flies, period. So you just might as well have fun because it's going to go fast anyway. But hope you guys have had a tremendous week. It's great to be with you this Friday, and goodness gracious, it's October is already halfway done. Speaking of time flies. But I hope you guys are well where you are. I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today. I think you're going to find her wise, charming, and fascinating, although I could use many, many more adjectives. Those are the three that first came to my mind. But let me tell you a little bit about DeAnna. DeAnna, Mrs. D, Curtis-Bowens brings nearly 4 decades of corporate expertise and powerful personal narrative to her role as a keynote speaker, author, and mentor. She's the voice of assurance for women seeking to transcend limited circumstances and embrace their full identity and calling. After a long and successful career in corporate America, DeAnna was led into entrepreneurship by life-changing spiritual directive. Interested in that. The journey culminated in her memoir, The Decree, launched into the limelight of God's influence, a stirring account of triumph over adversity through faith and perseverance. As a sought-after speaker, DeAnna delivers authentic and impactful messages at events ranging from corporate seminars to retreats and community conferences. She specializes in topics of resilience, self-confidence, healing, and spiritual empowerment, inviting women to reclaim their stories and walk in their purpose. In addition to her speaking and writing, DeAnna serves as a coach with Kingdom Influencer, equipping others to share their voices and inspire transformation across spheres of influence. I am intrigued. I am very intrigued. Fascinating bio. DeAnna, excited to have you. Welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. My honor to have you here. Um, So one of the things that I always say is we are blessed in this community to have, I give it all to God, rapid growth. We've gone from 500 members to just shy of 2,500, 2,400 that is, excuse me. And he did that growth in like 3 weeks. So I'm praising him. And one of the benefits of that is now people will watch from different parts of the world. And so when I interview guests, obviously I live in the States, so a lot of my guests, that I know live in the States. So I don't ever want to assume that people know my guests live in the States. But if you could, Deanna, tell us what part of the world you're coming from today.
Today I'm coming from Tampa, Florida.
And Tampa is home, right?
Now it is, but uh, I wasn't born and raised here.
Yeah. Where you from?
I am originally from Chicago, Chicago, Illinois. Grew up in the projects. Um, Left Chicago in like 1985. Right a year after I had my oldest son, I had my oldest son when I was 18 years old, which um, was a shocker. That was not part of the plan. But after my aunt, who lived in Austin, Texas, invited me to move to Austin, because she said it's growing. So I was like, okay, I'm coming. I had just registered for school, so I said, okay, when I finish this semester, I'm coming. There I was, January 1985, on a one-way flight heading to Austin, Texas. Had never been there before, seen pictures, but never been there before. because I needed change, and it was my ticket out of the projects.
Okay. So yeah, I would imagine Chicago, Illinois, mid 80s to Austin, Texas, which I believe it was growing, but nowhere near the explosive growth they've had the
Oh,
last 15
mhm.
years. I bet you that was culture shock for sure.
Oh, yeah. I actually felt like I went back in time, but it was okay. It was okay because I called Austin paradise at the time because it was a little slower pace. You know, coming from the big city and then you go into Austin, it's a little smaller, but it's like for me, it reminded me of a suburb. And but I didn't anticipate the city buses stopping running at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening and don't start back to 6 o'clock the next day. I mean, it was just it could have been a culture shock, but I was so fascinated with it. So yeah,
I would imagine back then, Austin probably felt like Naperville or Bolingbrook.
yeah,
Chicago's so big.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Sundays they still had the blue laws, so they wasn't selling no liquor on Sundays. You go in the grocery store, they have it all covered over and everything. The buses didn't run at all on Sunday. Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
So did you go directly from Austin to Tampa?
No. So, all right. So after being in Austin for probably like a year and a half. So this is kind of like what my story is like, oh my God. So a year and a half into Tampa, I find myself pregnant again. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. So I called my mom, and my mom said, look, you already have a child. You're not married. And she suggested I have an abortion. So for me, at the time, it was an easy choice because my mom, by the time she was 21 years old, she had 5 kids with 4 daddies. I was not trying to be like my mom. So I terminated the pregnancy. But what I didn't count on was the trauma that followed that and the emotional baggage that came with it. Oh my God, it was terrible. And for like 6 months, I was in and out of depression, in and out of depression. And I got saved at 13. And after I had my oldest son, I had started going to a church in the projects. And I was reading my Bible. And it was just me reading my Bible and everything. I said, you know what, Lord? Let me see what it's like out there before I get serious with this. And boy, did he ever. He said, okay,
Hmm.
deal. And shortly thereafter, moved to Texas. And here I am, pregnant, having the abortion. And it was so bad. I called out to God and I was like, help. And that's when I rededicated my life back to Christ. And been back home ever since with the Lord and has not left. And it's been like over 35 years now. And so went back, joined the local church. The next year after joining that church, I met my husband. Now he wasn't from Austin. He was visiting his cousin who was my Sunday school teacher. And of course, his wife playing matchmaker, invited
Mhm.
me over to dinner. And I was like, oh man, I know what she's trying to do. I ain't interested in this. But we met, that was April 1988. So we started corresponding through letters. We used to do that back in the
Yeah,
day, write letters.
right. You had to have stamps.
Yeah. So, long story short, we met in April, he proposed in June, and we got married all in the same year, November 1988. This November will be 37 years. And we got married the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and that Sunday we was heading to Virginia. Why Virginia? Because when I met my husband, he said God was telling him to go to the Rock Church in Virginia Beach. I said, all right, let's go. I'm excited. The Lord is sending us somewhere. Oh yeah, we going, we going. Get to Virginia and had two more sons. And I was happy but not satisfied. So we went to church that Sunday. We was in the beginning of our fall conference. And our guest speaker was Dr. Miles Monroe. And he was speaking on purpose. And I discovered that was the missing point for me because it answered the question, why am I here? And what I learned, I had an assignment. And after 2 years of reading books and praying and seeking the Lord, I discovered my purpose, which is a home for pregnant teenagers. Well, that's what it started out with. And as Miles Monroe would teach you, God shows you the end, and then he takes you back to the beginning and you begin the process. And that process has taken me about 31 years. And I thought it was going to happen in Virginia Beach, but no, it's going to be here in Tampa area. I've been here in Tampa now for 3 years. And that 30-year process is where he began to work on me and the deliverance and the healing I went through from my past. Because just as your show is, you are worthy. I didn't think I was worthy. Because another thing I didn't mention was when I was 8 years old in the projects, I was molested by a teenager. I didn't know. And the bad part about it was my little brother was with me. So, of course, that brings on shame and guilt and fear. But in going through this process, God delivered me from that shame, from that fear, from that guilt. And the main part came through forgiveness. There came a time where I had to forgive that guy. I was 30 years old. And it was the hardest thing I thought I was doing at the time because guess what? He's going deeper into my past and I'm still forgiving people. But I do it with understanding now because I know the healing that comes with forgiveness. So, but yeah, the forgiveness, I talk about forgiveness in my book, The Decree. And that is the one chapter that grabs the heart of the reader. Because just like me, they find, I thought I forgave, but they find themselves forgiving even more on a deeper level. And forgiveness is not excusing the person who did it to you. It's all about you. It's soul care. I like to call it soul care. You're getting rid of past offenses, you're getting rid of pain, and you're getting rid of that bitterness. And what I find, people who have that bitterness, when they don't let it go, they start to get sick from it. And they wonder what's going on. Well, in Matthew chapter 6, the Lord say, forgive because your Father has forgiven you. If you don't forgive others, He's not going to forgive you. So guess what? We have got to forgive. But leading up to writing the book, someone heard my story. I was sharing my story on, Tampa is a huge networking group here. And shortly before I moved here, I retired, took an early retire from my job and started a business. And it was in the network marketing thing. Now, I wasn't trying to become no network marketer. I just wanted the product, and it was in gold and silver. But after I retired, the Lord spoke to me and said, go ahead and do the business side. And then he said, this is more than a business opportunity. I'm about to show you who I created you to be. He said, just follow me, you trust me, and I will lead you. And I said, okay, Lord. And that's what I've been doing for like the past 4 or 5 years. And oh my God, Google trying to talk to me.
Well, I want to make sure we cover something because, you know, you're right. Forgiveness, I think it has layers to it. I was teaching on this, I was preaching on this about a situation close to my heart, and I was being vulnerable as I was
Mhm,
preaching, and I was like, the word mostly forgiven came out of my mouth. And it was real. That's where I was with this person. I was like, and it's strong, couldn't deny it. The spirit said, and it said to me, said out loud, got a little bit more work to do if it's mostly.
mhm,
And not surprising, within 48 hours, God gave me an illustration
mhm,
that, without going too deep into it,
mhm.
was my sin before him, before I was reborn. And that long, you know, pile of
Yeah,
sin.
yeah,
And that's what he's talking about.
yeah,
It's not minimizing what has happened to you.
right.
It is not excusing it. It is not necessarily trusting again, because that wouldn't necessarily
Absolutely.
be wise in a lot of cases. It
Absolutely.
doesn't it doesn't always mean reconciliation, because reconciliation
Yes.
takes two. Forgiveness is just between you and God. And what I had to remember was, and I think this is for all of us. It's hard when we've been hurt.
Oh, yes.
It is tremendously difficult. And the examples you've given are right up there near the top of things that are hard to
Mhm,
forgive.
mhm.
However, it's not worse than our sin before God.
Yes.
Jesus had to die for our sin.
Right.
And so that's why we can forgive even the most
Oh,
horrific things. So
absolutely.
I just wanted to establish that.
Yeah.
And you've talked a little bit about business. Um, when would you say you took that transition from corporate to, I mean, based on what I read and based on what I know about you, you're full-fledged ahead into entrepreneurship now. You got the
Yes.
book, you're speaking. When did that transition kind of take place?
Well, in November, end of November 2021 is when I took the early retirement and jumped right into the business part of it. And like I say, I'm following God and I'm trusting Him. In March 2022, I wrote a decree based on coming from a sermon my pastor gave at the time. And she's really heavy into teaching, believes in decrees, and so do I. So I took a decree she had us repeat for businesses. And in that decree, it says, I am a kingdom influencer. Now, I'm still in Virginia Beach, March 2022. I didn't move here until um, no, October 2022. So, so a few months after I moved here, I joined this networking group. And then I met Steve Harper, who's a coach, an influencer coach, the Kingdom Influencer Coach. Well, at the time, he wasn't a Kingdom Influencer Coach. He teach you how to do public speaking and write books. So they put on a
Daniel, I'm sorry, I apologize, I interrupted. I just want the audience
okay,
to know who you're talking about. So for those of you that are listening, Steve and his fairly new bride, Sylvia, I think they've been married 6, 8 months, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
They own Kingdom Influencer, and they've been a guest on our show. So I just wanted you guys to know that you guys that haven't heard that name know who that was. Sorry, Deanna, to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Oh, no problem. So they had a conference, I can't remember the name, something like Women of Faith Business Conference or something. I was like, oh, I'm going. And I knew a few people here because of the networking group. And it was 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday. So I went the first day. And then Saturday, my husband went with me because, it's Saturday, he's off work. So at the end, they made an offer. They just starting this new group called Kingdom Influencer. I said, oh my God. Because I went to this conference with a spirit of expectation. I was wanting to hear from God. And when they said Kingdom Influencer, I said, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be. But in the meantime, I'm meeting with other people who's hearing my story when we meet one-on-one to get to know each other. And this one guy in particular said, have you written any of this down? I was like, no. And I was like, who want to hear my story? And the second time, he said, you have got to write this down. He said, do you know how many women you would help with your story? Because he was a director at the Oasis Pregnancy Center where I later started volunteering. So I say, okay. So one of the requirements was, Steve, you got to write a book telling your story. And I am such a fan, a proponent of that. You absolutely have to tell your story because your testimony is not for you. Your testimony is for other people.
Right.
And with me understanding my assignment, there's a group out there who God has assigned to me, and my testimony is for them. It's not for everybody. It's for that group who God is calling me to. And I have to tell them my story. And people say, you're so transparent. Why not? I know what God has done for me. I'm not ashamed of what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Because I know where I come from, and I know where I am, and I know whose I am. So no problem with me telling my story because it's going to benefit somebody.
I love the vulnerability. I want to hear more about the pregnancy center.
Mhm.
Is that still a vision? Is that a reality? How far away are we? Tell us more about that.
So right now I'm in the process of applying for a 501c3, and it's going to be called Miss D's Place. And the biggest part of that, before you even apply, you got to have your board members in place.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of getting my board members, and I have one more left to go before I can start getting that paperwork together. But I'm taking that part slow and I'm allowing God to show me who they are because I done had too many horror stories. And actually, the guy who started the Oasis Pregnancy Center, I met with him and he's given me a lot of insight and pointers on how, even though his is a pregnancy center, there's still not that big of a difference, between the two. So I've been getting a lot of advice on that end, and the people who I have on my board now, they range from business owners to ministers. So God is showing me putting a good. He's putting a solid group around me. Because at first I was trying to do this all by myself. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Now, in the very beginning, when he showed me what I was going to be doing, it was a home. Now it's a facility. And
Mm.
this facility has dorm rooms, an auditorium, an education center. So I was thinking, oh, I'm a city girl. I know blocks and whatnot. I don't know nothing about acreage and what that looked like. So I literally had to go to ChatGPT and say, show me what this size acreage look like this size. And when I looked, and the Lord said, you're thinking too small with what you're asking for. I was like, okay. So I once heard, if your vision does not make you scared, it's not big enough.
Yeah.
And when he said it's not, what I was looking at was, I was like, okay, okay. But I'm fine with that now because of the people I'm bringing, that's surrounding me, and knowing I don't have to do this by myself. But the biggest part is God is right there. He's my main board member.
Amen. I have one last question about the pregnancy center, but just we could talk about it offline. But one piece of advice: don't have too big of a board, especially to start. But that we can talk about that offline. There's some reasons why I say
Mhm.
that. But do you already have blueprint for the facility?
It's still in my head, but I did find one of my networking members who can do the blueprint for me. And because I say I need somebody who can draw what's in my head, because I want to see it on paper so I can have it there in my on my wall or wherever I put it, visually see this every single day.
Love it. I love it.
And
So
it's a home for pregnant teenagers.
that's awesome. That is an awesome vision for sure. Um, so are you actively coaching women?
Here and there, on this on as far as confidence and something other like that. But
Mhm.
yes, with the kingdom influencers, yeah. Those who
Mhm.
are coming through that where as part of kingdom influencers. But I'm starting to get people come to me one-on-one outside of kingdom influencer. So I hadn't thought that far because I'm doing all of this is
Yeah.
like, okay, I never thought about coaching nobody. And here I go, feeling unworthy in coaching. You want me to coach? Okay, why not? I done been through it. I used to say I was Gideon. I was worse than Gideon. I was scared of my own shadow. But now look at me. God has given me the boldness and as I call, confidence. So yeah, I do coach a little bit on the side.
Well, let me encourage you because I have personally fought through unworthiness, imposter syndrome, lack of self-love, limited thinking, all that umbrella. And like, you know what? Even though I'm fairly new, couple of years, 3 years, in the entrepreneur space,
Hmm.
I've got a wealth of experiences as a pastor, as this, as that. It's not about me, but the point I'm trying to make is we have life experiences that
Yes.
transition. Now, you want to be certified, you want to have credentials, right? Because
Yeah.
people are looking for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Yes.
this is about you. You
Absolutely.
have the
Absolutely.
life experience and the skills and the tools that God gave you in your tool belt to help those women that are struggling with the
Mhm.
same things you struggled
Mhm.
with for all those years. So I just want to encourage you with that.
Yes. And I've taken it on. I really have. And it's just like you say, the years of experience has made me what I like to call myself a subject matter expert. Like I told you, my birthday is next Friday. I'll be 61 next Friday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I have
Awesome.
4 sons, 2 grandsons, and 2 granddaughters. And oh yeah, I have some experience under my belt.
Wait a minute. Let's capsulate that. You have 4 sons
Mhm.
and how many grandchildren?
4.
Okay, so 4 sons, 4 grandchildren. You're speaking, you're coaching a little bit. You've got a book. You've got a vision for pregnancy residence. And look what God has done from that girl, right? Young girl in Chicago, Illinois, to Austin, Texas. Now I may have some of this out of order, but to Austin, Texas, to Virginia Beach, to Tampa, has God not done an amazing work in your life?
Absolutely. My favorite saying is, look what the Lord has done.
And you, everybody needs this reminder. And we're right on it now talking about you. I get to remind the viewers every time we go live that their story's not over yet.
Absolutely.
If they woke up today, their story's not over yet. If God said sun, meaning sun, the sun up in the orbit,
Mhm.
rise today, because he could order it not to rise today, by the way.
Yes,
And
yes, yes,
it's by his grace that we woke up to another day and you got air in your lungs. Your story's not over yet. And you, DeAnna, are living proof of that.
yes. At these networking groups, you have to do what they call a 30-second commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And I have different ones. And one of my favorite ones start off like this. There was a time when I thought my past disqualified me, but now I use my voice to help others to rewrite their stories. The story is not ending, it's just beginning.
I love that. The story's not ending, it's just beginning. I love that. Um, so your book,
Mhm.
is it found in multiple places? Just Amazon? Tell us where folks can find it.
It's for okay. There's the book cover. I love the cover.
It,
The
keep coming
decree.
close. Keep coming closer. It's hard to see in the virtual.
Oh, that's right, because I had the
Cup. That's yeah. It's gonna be hard to
can
see
you
it.
see it?
Uh-uh.
I'm gonna take the
Oh,
background
there,
off.
there it is. There it is.
Oh, you see it?
Raise it up a little bit. I can see a little more. There you go. There you can see it.
Okay, okay. So decree is you can find it on Amazon, but if you want a signed copy, you can go to Miss D's book, missdsbook.com. And I
Okay.
also have a free ebook, a free download ebook called Godfidence, Faith Filled Confidence, um, Faith Fuel Confidence. And that book is at DeAnnaebooks.com.
And we have those links to share after the interview, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. You guys are going to want to check that out. Sounds like an inspiring, entertaining read for sure.
Mhm.
Um, DeAnna, what's next? It's such an exciting season. We were talking ahead, before we went live of how there seems to be these seasons of um well, this is my description, slow, waiting on God. And then
Mhm.
there's times when it's hard to keep up with God, and it sounds like
Right,
you're in that season right now. What's next?
right, right. Well, right now, getting ready to collab on another book with Steve and some other authors called Set Apart. And after that, I have to write the book about with my dad because I was 35 before I met my dad. He didn't even know I existed.
Wow.
That's a whole nother story.
Mhm.
And also, I'm in the process of putting the decree on Audible, and I'm gonna be reading it myself
Okay.
because I never thought about those who were seeing impaired. And I'm met a lady, and she asked me, she say, because she says, "Is your book on Audible?" I say, "No, it's not." She's like, "Oh, okay." I say, "But you know what? I'm gonna put it on Audible just for you." And so I'm in the process of planning all of that out. January, Kingdom Influencer is going to have a conference here called Made for More. And details are coming for that. I'm sure you'll see it splash all over the place after a while. But we did it here last January, and it was such a success. But we're looking to take it nationwide. And there was one other place here in Tampa, a local church that wanted us to come and do it at their church. So that's what we're doing, uh, looking to take Made for More conference on the road to churches all over. And I think I sent you the Kingdom Influencer website. But anyway, if I did not, I can send it to you where they can go there and find out and keep up with events for Kingdom Influencer. Or they might want to become a Kingdom Influencer. It's not just Tampa based. So I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is the conference right now. The speaking engagements are starting to come in more, and it's like, ooh, I'm living by my calendar now.
Yeah, it's fun for sure, but you got to be wise with that calendar as it fills up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, the Made for More. Yeah, I think it's an annual conference in January, and yeah, Steve told me a little bit about that when I connected with him a few weeks back.
Mhm.
Um, we need to wrap up for now, Deanna, but
All
I
right.
would love to have you back if you're willing sometime, because this book that's in the future with your dad, that sounds like a fascinating story, and I'd love
Yeah.
to hear more about that story on another interview if you'd be willing to come back at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
This has been awesome. Deanna, what words of wisdom would you leave our viewers today?
The words of wisdom my favorite one is my 30-second commercial. But the one main one I want everybody to know, do not be afraid to tell your story because somebody needs to hear what God has done in your life. And the other word of wisdom I would say, don't hold on to unforgiveness because it would destroy you spiritually, physically, and mentally. Just let it go and become the best you in God you were designed, created to become.
I'm taking notes. Do not be afraid to tell your story and don't hold on to unforgiveness. And there's a quote about that that says, unforgiveness is like taking a teaspoon of poison every single day and expecting the other person to
Yeah,
die. No,
that's right.
it's killing you holding
Yeah,
on to it.
yes,
So let that go. And that's easier said than done. Sometimes it does take some tools and some
yeah.
help to fully let go. But those are wise words for sure,
Mhm,
Deanna.
mhm,
We'll
mhm,
make sure that people can contact you
mhm,
with the
mhm.
links that you've provided. Thank you for your openness and your wisdom and your warmth. It came shining through. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, I love this part of the show. I love every part of it, but this is a great time that I get to remind you guys that you are worthy and you're worthy of love, respect, and success. And God is not done with your story by a long shot, just like he wasn't done with DeAnna's. He's got more in store. Be encouraged by that. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned. We've actually got another interview later this afternoon, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for making this network what it is. God bless.